We are back, and joining me on the set now, joining me on the set now and starting Monday permanently is Diane Devaughn, the new hostess. Welcome to the show.
Jim, thanks a lot. I'm really glad to be here, and it's been about 3 weeks now since I guess the decision was made, and I'm certainly glad that it's finally arrived. As a matter of fact, I run into people all over town who say, "We didn't know what happened to you. Where have you been?" You know, I think I kind of quit one job and took a little break there so that you know, I'd feel relaxed and take a little vacation before I started a new job.
Well, how do you feel about moving from radio to television? Is it, you know, what's the feelings going on? It's a little different.
It is different. Of course, this morning I had to worry about not only how I sounded, but how I looked. And that is going to be a new challenge. However, I've done some television before. I've done some commercial work and telethons in the area and throughout the area. And so television isn't totally new to me. I think radio is a little more, I think you have to be a little more dramatic with radio because you have to put across in your voice a lot of emotion because you don't have your facial expressions and, of course, your hands, which I would be a loss without my hands. So I think that radio is a little, and of course your hands, which I would be a loss without my hands. So I think that radio is a little more dramatic, but I'm going to enjoy the television, and I have enjoyed television in the past. All
right, sounds good. What was it like working on the Holiday Show? That's such a popular program. When I first came to Florence, you know, that was the talk show in town, and that's how everybody knew what was going on. Besides news, the Holiday Show was it. It was obviously fun. You know, what was it like? It
was fun. It was probably one of the most enjoyable experiences of my life. The Holiday Show has been on the air for 21 years, and Doug Williams, of course, deserves all the credit for that because he makes his guests feel at ease, and he's a very popular person in the area. He's also one of my very best friends. That was probably one of the most traumatic things about this job change was leaving Doug because he is a very good friend as well as a very good working relationship. We never had an argument the entire 7 years we worked together, and I just love him dearly as a friend. The show itself was exciting because the guests were not planned, Jim. It wasn't a scheduled thing, and I guess since the show's been going on for 21 years, it was the kind of thing that people just knew to drop in and have some coffee, sit right down and talk. So it was a lot different, in other words, than this will be, because of course this is a scheduled format. Yeah,
that's one of the things you and I were talking about before, and after we finished talking, that's really a tribute to the program, just to realize that you don't have to plan guests, that important people often are going to drop by and just sit down and have a cup of coffee with you and talk to the viewers, television term, the listeners. That's great. What do you plan for this program, real quick? You know, you've seen the program now, I guess, for a couple of weeks. What do you think?
Well, of course, as I mentioned to you, I hadn't even seen the program when I accepted the job because, of course, I was usually at the Holiday Inn waiting to do the Holiday Show when this show aired. And since I have taken off and quit the one job and waiting to come on with this one, I have seen the show, and I'm very excited about the opportunity to do a 30-minute live program. In the way of changes, just briefly yesterday, I had a chance to sit down with Richard Roberts, the director, and talk about different aspects of the program. And Jim, pretty much the same sort of thing you've been doing. We do want people to let us know what's happening. You know, give us a call and say such and such is happening. We want to come on the show and we want to hear it from the people. Pretty much the same type of format too, in the way of maybe approximately 2 guests per show, and I would like a lot more action, though. I would like to have people come in and do programs right in the studio, whether it's cooking demonstrations, hair fashions done in the studio. Maybe we'll have some cloggers come in and lots of action. I'd like to wake up the studio this time of the morning.
That's when it's fun. That's when the show is fun, when people come in here and really put on the show. All right, we're going to take a quick break, and then we are going to open up the phone line, 667-1757. I've been saying the last couple of days, you'll never get a chance to ask Diane questions again. You're only going to be able to ask her guests. 667-1757. Go ahead and call in. We'll be back right after this message. Well, it didn't take long. We've already got a call. You're on Pee Dee People. Do you have a question for Diane Devaughn? Good morning.
Hello?
Good morning.
Good morning.
You're on Pee Dee People. Do you have a question for Diane?
Yes, but we want to welcome her.
All right.
We love her on the radio, so we're going to like her better when we can see her.
There you go.
I'm a Florence resident, and I would like for her to get in touch with this lady in Columbia, Miss Mary Green. she has a God-gifted talent and answers questions. And if you lost something, like a deed, and she'll tell you where to find it or if it's destroyed. And of course, to call Columbia would be, a long distance.
What?
So I'm glad we are here at local. We can ask questions, and I want Diane to bring out some crafts. I'm craft crazy.
All right.
And welcome again. And where you going? I want to know what's happening to you. I miss
Me?
you.
I'm going to the newsroom. I'm
Well, you
dedicated.
still with them?
Yeah, oh, I'll still be here in Florence. I'll still be working for Channel 15. I'm going to be directing my attentions to the newsroom.
We enjoy it very much. Glad you're here.
Well, thank you, ma'am. Ma'am.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye. I was going to get her name. We'll get it on the recording, though, later. Crafts are obviously a big deal here in Florence. A lot of people like those. I've had it a couple times on the show. You going to do that kind of stuff?
Oh, yeah, I'd like to make a comment on that. As a matter of fact, just the other day I was talking with Joe Williams' wife, Sylvia, and Sylvia mentioned to me, too, that she would like to see us do some crafts. I think a lot of people, not just women, but men, too, are very interested in crafts. I have a lot of male friends who like to macrame and needlepoint, and I would like to do that probably come October to get people ready to do Christmas crafts, kind of do a series. I wanted to talk with Richard about that later, possibly about doing some, maybe every Monday, the first of the show, or every Tuesday, the first of the show, doing crafts right on through Christmas.
I think it's a great idea. You've got my approval, by the way. Crafty. You're on Pee Dee People. Do you have a question?
I'd like to know if Diane plans to work on the newscast as well as Pee Dee People.
No, I think for some people, news is their bag. I know Jim loves news, and he loves going out and doing stories and doing reporting, and I'm not a real newsy person. I would much rather talk with people on a level just like this and talk about things happening in the area, like the Lake City Tobacco Festival or anything that's coming up in the area. That's pretty much been my bag, and I think most people in journalism today are like that. They're either into news or into the feature end of journalism, and I'm really pretty much feature. However, I wouldn't rule that out totally. If there was a sickness and I got a chance to fill in, I would gladly fill in, but I certainly wouldn't want to do that full time. I'd rather do this.
I'd like to see you on the news.
Oh, all right. Well, maybe someday.
Well, get a petition started and we'll look into it, okay?
Okay.
Thank you,
sir.
Thank you.
Diane, what about that? As I've said to you, I don't know if I've said it on the show, I'm real anxious to get back to news, and I'm a news person. This is kind of not really what I do best. Have you ever thought of just doing journalism, just doing news-type journalism?
I never even enjoyed reading the headlines on a holiday show. I'm just, to me, news is boring, and yet that would be, certainly where would we be without news? It's just not my thing. I can read like anyone else, and I can do it, and I put a little enthusiasm into it, but I want to be happy. I want to make people feel good, and not that the news people can't. Al Clinch makes me feel good every time I watch the 5:30 edition, and but it's just not for me. I really like talking with people and bringing out the facts about things happening in the area.
And that's really, my opinion, and having done the show, I think that's what this show is about. It's really not, you're not, in my opinion, especially like 9 o'clock in the morning, you don't want to talk about World War and all that kind of stuff. It's to make people feel good and let them know what's going on, in my opinion. Okay, let's talk about, if we can for just a second, talk about, you didn't come from Florence. You're not originally from Florence. Most people think you are, by the way.
Well, I've been here long enough to be considered a Florentine and a Southerner. However, my dad was transferred to Florence with Union Carbide about 15 years ago, and I've been to high school at McClinigan here, and of course Francis Marion College for 4 years, so this is pretty much home now.
I see, it's home now. I noticed just a couple of minutes before the show that you knew the gentleman who walked in first. That's one of the things about news people, or people who get around in the journalism field around here, is that they seem to know all the people who are to be known. You are on Pee Dee People. Do you have a question for Diane?
I don't have a question, Jim. This is Mayor Tatter. First, I want to commend you for doing a fine job on Pee Dee People, and I certainly want to, I think I would be using proper terminology if I said commend Channel 15 for the association of one Diane Devaughn.
All righty.
She is really a super gal, and I know she's going to do a great job. And Diane, I just wanted to call in to say I'm all for you, I'm supportive of you, and I know you're going to do a fine job, and you're going to have a tremendous following throughout the PD on Pee Dee People.
Oh, Cooper, thank you so much. I couldn't be any happier if President Reagan called, I promise you. I mean that sincerely. I really appreciate you calling, Cooper. Thank you so much. You've been a great friend, and I'm sure that you're going to be on Pee Dee People very soon. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you, Dan.
Have a good day. You know, people around here are real excited about this change. Not only at the station, the atmosphere at the station, as you've probably been able to tell, it's just gung-ho, but people I've talked to, people in the community are real excited. You know, what's it like having a following? You know, in news, I can't have a following. The idea is not to have one, but what's it like?
Well, I want you to know I didn't know I had one. However, you know, Jim, I'm certainly flattered by that comment, and I do have a lot of friends throughout the area. You know, to say I love people is certainly an understatement. I enjoy working with people on all different levels of whether it's emceeing pageants or programs in the area, and I just enjoy getting out and blending with the people, and I'm glad to know that they appreciate me. That makes me feel good.
You're going to keep doing that stuff, aren't you, besides the show? You're going to keep doing pageants and that kind of thing?
Oh, that's going to be fun.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really, you know, the way to get right in there and blend right in.
I got to tell you about the pageant I did a little later.
Were you in it?
No, I did it. Part of the show. You are on Pee Dee People. Do you have a question for me?
I don't have a question. I have a comment to you, Jim.
All righty.
I'm so glad you started Pee Dee People. I certainly enjoyed it, and we're going to miss you up there, too, but I know Diane's going to do a wonderful job.
Well, thank you very much for calling in. Who am I talking to?
This is Laura Poggett in Tillmansville.
Well, thanks for calling. I appreciate it.
Okay.
And you keep watching Pee Dee People. It's going to be great.
I sure will end news.
All righty. There you go. Thank you.
Okay.
All right. One of the you know, I guess the part that I like best is the first segment of the show when I get to just say whatever's on my mind, as you know, as I did this morning. Haven't done that enough. Haven't done that as much as I would like to. But besides that, I like when people call in, because that is one thing it does is it cuts down on what you're going to ask the guest, which isn't so hot. But what it does is it allows you to talk to the people, find out what they're interested in. And I don't know, you didn't take phone calls on the holiday show, did you?
No, because there wasn't any phone located right where the holiday show was. However, there were some programs where we did, you know, work that out. But pretty much we didn't work with the telephone.
That's something that is unique to this show. I tell you, one of the things about Pee Dee People is, besides it being the only local television talk show, it is live, and it is people call in. You never know what they're going to say. It has happened upon occasion. I don't want to scare you. Let's take another phone call. You're on Pee Dee People. Do you have a question? Good morning.
Good morning.
You're on Pee Dee People. Do you have a question?
Thank you. Yes, first of all, I would like to congratulate Diane on her new job. She's a beautiful woman.
Yeah.
And comes from a beautiful family, and I'm her mother's neighbor. And I just want to congratulate her, and I know she's going to do a beautiful job for this morning show.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Diane, listen, Nancy is your mother, isn't it?
Nancy is my mom,
Yes.
and Pete is my dad, and Donna is my sister.
That's right. Donna's beautiful.
You got the right family, and they are beautiful.
That's
I'm proud to be their daughter.
Really are. But listen, I want to ask you one more question. Did you used to do commercials for anywhere else here in Florence 5 years ago?
Yes, I've been doing television commercials since I got out of college in 1973, and I've done commercials at 13 and Columbia, WIS, WOLO in Columbia, and also in Charleston. So I've kind of made the rounds on the commercial circuit, and I really do like getting into commercials and kind of putting on a new face and advertising for a different product. I enjoy that very much.
For a milk company, didn't you?
Yes, I did Sumter Dairies and still do those. They're running in Columbia.
Well, I lived in Charlotte that time, and I thought you were beautiful.
Oh, well, thank you. If I ate all those products, the ice cream and the cottage cheese that Sumter Dairies made, I wouldn't be so thin.
Well, thank you so much for your
Thank you.
And I just wish you the best, okay?
Thank you very much for calling.
Thanks for calling in, ma'am. We will be back to wrap things up in just a moment. Stay tuned. We are back, and only time enough to thank Diane for coming and wish her all the luck in the world with the new show.
Jim, thank you so much. I look forward to it Monday.
Okay, and we'll be spending the next couple of days together working out the details, all right?
Thanks for all your help, too. You've been super.
My pleasure. You all join me tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock, please.